Carly, I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today. I thought we talked about some really great stuff in today's meeting, and I hope that through the work we've done together so far in the process, I hope that you found it to be valuable. Have you found it to be valuable?
Yes.
Great. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what specifically has been really valuable for you?
I feel like I've been able to see the entire picture instead of just bits and pieces, and it's given me a really nice insight into my whole financial life.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. And I get that reaction a lot from people. So it's always interesting for me to ask and find out. We wouldn't be here having this conversation if it weren't for the fact that your good friend Colleen introduced us and set up, I guess, that first meeting where we were able to kind of sit down and talk about what we do. So I'm really glad that Colleen did that, and I would love it if the next time you see Colleen, or maybe even, let's not wait for that, if you can send her a note and just say thank you for that, I would really appreciate it. Does that sound all right?
Sure.
Great. And to that end, I've got a really important question to ask you, and the question is this. I wanted to see if we could brainstorm for a few minutes about who else I might be able to meet, who else I could be introduced to that would maybe be a good person for me to talk to as far as the benefits that I can provide, the process that we have. Would you be willing to brainstorm for a few minutes?
Of course.
Okay, great. Does anybody come to mind? Anybody you can think of that would be good for me to meet?
Not really. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let me give you just maybe some prompters. I'll kind of give you a sense of who are the people that I work the best with, the people that I'm able to maybe help the most.
Okay.
I work a lot with other business owners just like yourself, so people who kind of have that entrepreneurial mindset. I find that we hit it off pretty well, and we work well together. People who have a family, often from a planning standpoint, I'm really able to help them. So maybe they're married, they have kids. People that are maybe like me, they're people. They like to get out and talk to people. I just find that personality-wise, we work really well together. So people who like to get in and do a lot of varied things, they're very often the best people for me to meet. So as I've gone through and described some of those things, did anybody come to mind? Did any person kind of pop into your mind that, you know what, they fit that bill, and it would be good for us to just at least sit down and be introduced?
Yes, actually. I have a coworker. Her name is Julie Thomas, and
Okay.
She and her husband just had a new baby.
Oh wow, okay.
And I know her husband does something with his own business, but I'm not really sure what.
Gotcha.
But from what you described, they sounded like, someone that you'd be interested in talking to, or that they would
Great.
benefit from talking to you.
Great. Is there anybody else? You said maybe a couple people came up. Is there anybody else before we go back and talk about Julie and her husband?
Not really.
That's fine. Let's stick with Julie for now. What would be the best way for me to be introduced to Julie?
I could write you both an email.
That'd be great. And that often works really well. So
Or I could tell her what we've done and ask her if she'd be willing to sit with you.
Well, you know what I'd prefer. What would really be ideal is if you could, because our planning process is so different for different clients. It's often hard for one person to appreciate how your experience through the planning process. It's hard for them to appreciate what it's really going to mean to them until they experience it for themselves. So really, all that I would ask for is just the opportunity to sit down and meet her and have a conversation with her about what we do. If you would do me the service of sending that email, copying us both on it, and just sort of doing a handoff and saying, hey, Julie, Neal is somebody that I've really enjoyed working with, and I think you guys would enjoy getting together. Then it'll be on me to reach out and make a phone call and set up a time. And she may not want to meet, and that's fine. All I'm really looking for is just the opportunity to be introduced. So if you are okay sending that email, I think that would be wonderful.
Sure.
Does that sound all right? Okay, great.